Good evening, everyone. So I'm living in Hanford, California. Everything's going well. My life is great. I have a great job at a correctional facility overseeing 52 nurses. One day I get a phone call, and it's my mother at the other end, and she's asking for me to come home. My father's Alzheimer's is getting worse, and she just can't help him out anymore. She's getting tired, and she's failing to let us know that she had cancer. So being that I had a great upbringing, my parents were wonderful to me, there was nothing more I could ask for out of two people that showed me there was great love and hope and faith in this life. I packed up all my stuff in Hanford and I came home. As I come home, I come to find out that they were in bad situations. They lost their home. So now I'm facing the fact that I have to relocate my parents. And of course, my father with Alzheimer's, my mother not feeling well but not saying anything, can't help themselves. So here I find a place for my parents to relocate to and live. So now I find myself having to get a job and also help them out and move forward from there. So we're in a brand new apartment now, and it is the final day that I move them out of their home when I get bad news that my grandson has just drowned. So this impacted my life very much, where the loss and the grief just sat in, and now I'm slowing down at helping my parents and my father with Alzheimer's. So it got really bad at the time. 7 months go by and I lose my father. He is now passed away, and I thought, how can I deal with this? It's getting heavy on me, and I see my mother, she's getting really sick now, and I actually stood up to her and said, Mom, what's wrong? You're not looking too well. You did ask me to leave everything behind, and I had so much going for myself. What's going on? Finally, she breaks down and tells me about her cancer. We take her to the doctor, and she has metastatic cancer, so now she's ready to leave me. 4 months after my father and my mother passes away. Within the year's time, I lost 3 family members. I didn't want to relate to anyone. I didn't want to live anymore. I didn't want to move forward. I felt like it was a big step backwards. But at the same time, I was relieved that I came home to help my parents. I found myself in a homeless situation now. Now, I left what I had back in Hanford. I came to live with my parents. They didn't have a home. I found them an apartment. I was living with them. Now I'm homeless and having to face the fact that I have nowhere to live. I become homeless and I step out and see that now I'm impacted in life to where I've lost everything. I have children. I have 4 children, 23 I have 23 grandchildren that are wonderful. 1 great-grandchild now. But at the time, I didn't want to burden anyone. I didn't want to bother anyone. I didn't want to lean on anyone. I was so used to being dependent on myself to help myself. And now I find myself homeless. So I'm out there wanting to know where my resources are, and there's Martha's Village, there's a Coachella Valley Rescue Mission, and there's lots of people, churches that were willing to help, and that's something that I walked the homeless life seeing for myself. So time goes by, and I'm hopping around from place to place, not being able to get back up on my feet. So when people out in the public start coming out to help, and I see them reaching out to homeless people and feeding them and bringing them clothing or blankets, something that they can keep warm with and help themselves out with, I continued, and I remembered the hope and the faith that my parents had planted in me, that they gave me that as I was growing up. One day I decided I'm going to Martha's Village and I'm going to go get myself a bite to eat. I'm hungry. I go to Martha's Village and a friend invites me out to an encampment out on Highway 86. I'm sure a lot of you, if you've read your Desert Sun newspaper, as Nicole said, not too many people read her articles, but she was one of the major reporters in that event that happened out in the encampment on 86. When I first got to the encampment, I was invited by a friend, and there was only like 15 of us there in the encampment that were camping out as homeless out there in the encampment. Well, moving forward, we got to know each other, the only 15 people that were out there. We knew what resources we had, which was Coachella Valley Rescue Mission or Martha's Village, and of course, the people that would come out and help the homeless, feed them, give them blankets, like I said, and some charity that they had for donations. One day, had been a couple of years already that we had been out in the encampment, and let me back up a little. Going through some time in the encampment, I had to learn how to survive. It isn't nice out there alone, homeless, nowhere to sleep. Are they going to throw me out? Are they going to treat me bad? Are they going to call me names? What are they going to do? How am I going to feel? Where am I going to go? Where am I going to rest my head? So as the years went by and I got more comfortable in the encampment, having to struggle for my food, for my wood, to cook my food, to heat up my water. I walked a quarter mile to get my water, so did everyone else, not only myself. The encampment started growing with more and more homeless people. Now there are 60 people out there. From 15 to 60, that's a big jump and a great number of people. Again, we had resources like churches, group organizations that would come out and help us and really inspire us and give us hope that there was people that helped so we can move forward and to actually see tomorrow. Like I said, the loss that I had, I didn't even want to see tomorrow. The time went by in the encampment and we had these people that helped us out. One day, Caltrans supervisor comes out and says, "You're on private property, you're trespassing. It's time to go." Now there's all these people here in the encampment. We understood that we were on private property, trespassing. Where do we go from here? What do we do? We had nowhere to go. She informs us that she will be back, return in 3 days, and that was it. They're in bulldoze, what we called home, and there were little huts that we had built on our own, going out, struggling, finding carpet, finding blankets, whatever we could find to make a shelter for ourselves. So she comes out and she informs us that we need to vacate the premises and we were going to be bulldozed. So us out in the encampment, we got together and we decided that we were going to find out where we were going to get help from. So she comes out and it's time for eviction. Bulldozers are right behind her. And we had a meeting. So she's got law enforcement with her just to keep the peace. We start having a meeting. We have the media there. We have Desert Sun there. And we have law enforcement there and churches, organizations, groups, people that were out there to help figure out the situation. So now the meeting is set. We're talking to the supervisor and she tells us she's brought resources for us to be able to help ourselves and start transferring into what is called permanent supportive housing. So we went ahead and took her up on the offer. We filled out what we had to fill out. We complied with what she wanted us to comply with. Half of us were in doubt, and the other half just had to believe and have the faith and hope that these people that were out there to help us were really out there to help. So now we are answering these questionnaires, and we're being told that we are being transferred to a hotel. We couldn't help but to say, okay. We didn't have no other choice. We had to leave. We got in vans. We looked at each other like, where are we going? We didn't know where we were going. We actually thought, they're going to take us and slaughter us at a camp somewhere, or are they going to get rid of us? What are they going to do with us? We're getting in vans. These are like prison vans, we thought. We're homeless, but we're not captives. So we get in the vans and we're moving on, and we get to City Center Hotel in Indio, where they paid for 30 days for us to be housed. So there was, I believe there was like 60 of us that were housed in 2 different hotels. And they were paid for by grants that were given by, I believe it was the state or somewhere where the grants came from, to start help in decreasing homelessness here in the Valley. As we know now, it's a major crisis. We were housed in the hotel and we're transitioning. And 30 days later, I'm sorry, I had denture work, so my mouth is getting dry. I had bad teeth, now I have dentures. I'm getting used to them. So anyways.
Some water?
No, that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and close my story. Anyways, we're transitioning to housing. From the hotel, we move over to the Mission, stayed there 2 weeks when we were assigned a case manager. Now, I have a case manager now after a year of transitional housing. I have a great case manager that has walked me through this whole ordeal, this whole time of homelessness. And
There's a man that fell down back here.
oh wow. Yeah, someone fell.
Sitting up there.
So I'll go ahead and continue with my story. Being that the supervisor from Caltrans came out, gave us the resources, we were very grateful. We used the opportunity. We're now transitioning into housing. Again, like I said, I have a great case manager that has walked through this with me. And through the whole transition and all, the people that have been a great help out there, grief and loss is a great impact in somebody's life and can cause homelessness after their great loss. The help that I've received has helped me to now have 2 jobs. I'm living in an apartment. Thank you. I am working for in-home supportive services for the elderly for the County of Riverside, and I work for my church, which is United Methodist Church in Indio. And I have what I call my boss, which is the in-home supportive services. Everyone has been very great to me. I couldn't thank them more than I can think of for all that they've done for me and the success that I've come out of after being homeless. So there is great help. I appreciate those that help and give to these shelters for helping the homeless. Thank you.